The capo can be used for different reasons. One reason is to change the key of a song without having to play different chord shapes. This is especially useful for singers. If you're accompanying a singer or if you're accompanying yourself singing and you want to sing in a different key because your voice sounds better higher up or lower down, the capo is extremely useful for that because you don't have to play all different chords. You play the same chords that the song is written for, but you just put a capo on and you're instantly in a different key. Another reason to use a capo is to avoid having to play bar chords, which can be very difficult for beginners to play and to switch to quick enough in a song. So I'm going to show you how to figure out where to put the capo so that you can avoid bar chords. Although, to be honest, it is much better that you learn how to play bar chords. Despite how difficult they are, it's really so much better because simply some songs will require you to play at least one bar chord, no matter where you put your capo on. Or if you try to get fancy and move the capo around in a song, it's just not practical. So learn your bar chords. That's the best solution. So you can check out my website, pathstoguitarmastery.com. I have a course up called Building Up to Bar Chords. It's a great way to go. But this video is about the capo. So here's what you're going to need to know in order to understand where to put the capo. First off, you're going to need to know your 8 basic open chords. E minor, E, A minor, A, D minor, D, G, and C. Since you're watching this, I can assume that you probably already know these, but if not, that's okay. First, check out the free video on how to play these. You'll find it in the links below. Next, you're going to need to know how to read both chord diagrams as well as scale diagrams. I also have free videos on my website, pathstoguitarmastery.com, that show you exactly how to do this. So go check it out if you don't already know how to do this. You're also going to need to know where the roots of these chords are, and that's what I'm going to get into right now. So if you don't know that, sit tight and you're going to know by the end of this video. So the root is the lowest sounding note of each of these chords. And I'll show you right now what that means. So the E minor and E chord both have their root on the open E string right here. The A minor and A chord both have their root on the open A string. The D minor and D chord both have their root on the D string, open D string. The G chord's root is on the E string 3rd fret. And the C chord's root is on the A string 3rd fret. The name of the root is also the same name as the chord. For example, the root of the E minor chord is the E note. The root of the D chord is the D note. The root of the G chord is, you guessed it, the G note. And the same goes for every chord, no matter what chord it is. The root, unless otherwise specified, is the same name as the chord. So when you come across an F sharp minor in a song, you know that the root of that chord is F sharp. If you have a chord diagram that shows a bar chord built with the lowest note on the 2nd fret of the low E string, then you will know that that 2nd fret of the low E string is where the chord's root is. In this case, that just happens to be F sharp as well. So now, if there's no chord diagram on the music you're working with, you'll need to know how to find all the notes on the low E, A, and D strings. Now, you also find links below on how to do that, but for right now, we're just going to look at this diagram. So this diagram has all the notes on those strings. We're just going to use that to find our place. So, for example, the example of F sharp minor, we need to find the F sharp note on the guitar. Here's the F sharp on the 6th string, and here is F sharp on the 5th string, and here's F sharp on the 4th string. Notice the sharp also looks like a hashtag, means 1 fret higher than the natural or given note. In this case, F sharp is 1 fret higher than F. So that's the same with every other note. G sharp is 1 fret higher than G, A sharp is 1 fret higher than A, so on and so forth. So when we put the capo on the 2nd fret, the F sharp note is on the E string. Therefore, we make the same open chord shape that has the root on the E string. And we will go with the minor shape since the chord we're making is an F sharp minor. So by playing an E minor open chord shape with the capo on the 2nd fret, we are now playing F sharp minor without having to make a bar chord. Let's try another possibility. What if we put the capo on the 4th fret? First, you must ask what open chord shape has the root on the D string. The answer is D, or D minor. Since we want the F sharp minor, we're going to go with the D minor chord shape. Now let's play the F sharp minor chord with the capo on the 9th fret. The 9th fret is getting a little farther up the neck, so this may not be as practical as the 2nd or 4th frets, but it's still a possibility, and that's what we want to explore right now. So as you can see, the F sharp note at the 9th fret is on the A string. Therefore, we will choose the A minor chord shape since we want the minor chord, not the major chord. So those are the most obvious places to put the capo when playing an F sharp minor chord using an open chord shape. Now let's look at a common chord progression and figure out where to put the capo so that all of the chords can be played as open chords. Here's the progression that we're going to use. It's A, E, F sharp minor, and D. Very common chord progression used to play literally hundreds of songs. So, if not thousands. Let's see if we can play all these chords with the capo on the 9th fret. First, let's try to play the A chord. For it to work, the A note has to be on the open E, A, or D string, or the 3rd fret of the E or A string. Since we're doing a major chord now, we can use the 3rd fret of the E or A string. So those are all fair game. There it is on the A string, 3rd fret up from the capo 9. What chord has its root on the 3rd fret of the A string? It's the C chord. That checks out. Okay, so when we want to play an A chord with a capo 9, we make the C chord shape, and we're now playing an A chord. So that checks out. What about the E chord? Is there an E at any of these locations? Yes, you can see it's right there on the E string, 3rd fret up from the capo 9. What open chord has its root on the 3rd fret of the E string? It's the G chord. So there we go. So our first 2 chords are C and G. G shapes, I should say, the C shape and the G shape. So for the F sharp minor, we already know that we need to make an A minor chord shape at capo 9, and that is now F sharp minor. So looking good so far. We're 3/4 the way there. Now what about that D chord? Do we see a D note in any of these locations? We do not. Therefore, we cannot play this chord progression using an only open chords on the 9th fret. You see, the D would be right here on the 1 fret up from the capo, and so we'd actually have to make an F chord shape. So it'd be 1 fret up from the capo, and it would be a bar chord. So that doesn't check out. So let's try the next one. Okay, next is the capo 4. Starting with the A chord, right away we can see that the A note is not found at any of these locations. Therefore, we cannot play this chord progression on capo 4 using only open chords. We're going to have to use this bar chord. It looks like an F chord shape. Okay, down to our last chance. Let's see if Capo 2 is going to do the trick. So starting with the A chord, we got to ask, is the A note found at any of these locations? Yes, right here. So it's on the third fret on the E string. Or I should say third fret up from the capo. And what open chord has its root on the third fret of the E string? The G chord. So that's our first one. So our G chord shape is now going to be the A chord with the capo on the third fret. On the next chord, E, is there an E note at any of these locations? There sure is. It's right here on the open D string, which is now capoed on the second fret. So what open chord has its root on the D string? Yes, the D chord. So next, F sharp minor. We already know that that will be the E minor shape. So we play the E minor shape in capo 2, and that's our F sharp minor. So we're one chord away. All we have to do is play the D chord in capo 2. Is it possible? Let's find out. We got to look for the D note at any of these locations. Can you see it? Yes, you can. It's right there. It's on the A string, third fret up from the capo. So what chord has its root on the third fret on the A string? The C chord, of course. There we have it. So all four of these chords, A, E, F sharp minor, D, can be played as open chords when capoed at the second frets. No bar chords needed. So instead, we're going to capo up on the second fret, play a G shape, a D shape, an E minor shape, and a C shape. In the comments below, let me know if this helped you. If it did, give this video a big thumbs up. Let me know you like it. Let me know if you have any questions on the subject, and I will do my best to answer them. And in the next video, I plan on using a capo to explore a more complicated chord progression. But this should be enough to get you it started for. Remember, it's important that you learn your bar chords, though. That's really the best way to go about this. And again, check out my website, pathstoguitarmastery.com, for some great free content on that subject, and also a course that will get you playing bar chords and get you playing songs with bar chords in them. More importantly, it'll allow you to actually apply to what you want to do. So, thanks for watching.